We all have 24 hours in a day. However, how you spend those 24 hours differentiates a regular Joe from a millionaire. Most millionaires, if you didn't know, follow something known as the 5-hour rule. The 5-hour rule asks us to devote at least 1 hour a day to learning, experimenting, and reflecting. It's a trick used by the richest and most successful people in the world. Some of the most notable names that practice this include Elon Musk, Jack Ma, Bill Gates, and even Oprah Winfrey. In today's video, I'm going to show you how you too can turn a wasted day into a successful one using the same rule. That's if you stick around until the end. There's a small New Year challenge I'd like you to try. Hi, and welcome to Practical Wisdom, where we give you insights on financial literacy and how to become an overall better you. So you wake up, get ready for work, and basically, you get up from bed and spend hours doom scrolling on social media. Before you know it, you barely have enough time to do anything constructive, so you rush for a quick shower and grab a quick breakfast as you head out for work. As expected, you are stuck in work mode 9, 5 waiting to unwind in the evening. If you have a thriving social life, you'll hang out with workmates or friends before heading home to doom scroll some more while you binge on your favorite shows. Before you know it, once again, it's 1 a.m. and you are trapped in a vicious cycle of sleeping late. If you spend the majority of your time at home, either working or managing the household, you may find it difficult to stay productive too, simply because there are so many distractions to start with. From the TV to unnecessary interactions with people, the list could go on and on. On the bright side, this can be fixed, and you won't have to waste your potential away thanks to the 5-hour rule. Well, as long as you stay disciplined. One thing we all have in common is that we all have at least a few hours to spend in leisure or do whatever we want. For more than half of the population, those hours are wasted away on non-work related phone worship. If you fall into these statistics, chances are that you will not become the entrepreneurs, innovators, and success stories of tomorrow. Let's break down a simple 24-hour day. From the 24 hours, 8 hours would ideally be spent sleeping, leaving 16 hours at your disposal. We could further leave 7 to 8 hours for work, leaving you with 8 hours at your disposal. This is where the 5-hour rule comes in. From the extra 8 hours that are free, you spend an hour a day, 5 days a week, either reading, reflecting, or experimenting, which are the 3 key principles of this rule. As you can see, the 5-hour rule is a fairly loose one, not hijacking all your free hours. You should give yourself a few concrete options for things you could spend your hour on. The goal is to have some structure while not locking yourself into something that might get too tedious. So now that you know it only takes an hour a day to change your life, where do we start? But before we get started, how about you subscribe and hit the notification button for more content. Now, let's jump into it. First principle, read. If you could answer truthfully, how often do you read and what exactly do you read? If you read often but engage in fictitious books like Harry Potter, then you are playing the wrong game. Most self-made millionaires, like Mark Cuban, famous from the Shark Tank show, read between 1 and 3 hours daily just to learn more about the industries they work in. Another great example is Elon Musk, who learned how to build rockets, which led to SpaceX, by reading rocket science books. Besides expanding your knowledge, Jack Ma, co-founder of Alibaba, says that reading can give you a good head start. This is often what your peers cannot obtain. Compared to others, readers are more likely to know other industries' strategies and tactics. The bigger mystery is how these A-listers have the self-discipline to soak up hundreds to thousands of pages a day. Lucky for you, the digital era comes with shortcuts like podcasts, audiobooks, and spoken radio. These are all great alternative ways to utilize your time. The great part about these is that you can have them playing as you go about your daily workout routine or as you handle other less intensive activities. What's more, the internet is full of educational, entertaining, and enlightening long-form articles, which are much more digestible than huge books. I recommend carrying a book with you to read in between meetings or commuting. You can also read a page or two as you go for your doctor's appointment as you wait in the waiting room. This is a much more productive way of passing time instead of wasting time on my smartphone. As you drive to the gym or on your way to work, or even as you do some house chores, you can listen to an audiobook or any educational podcast. Even if you can't commit to an hour or more of reading every day, you can start with 20 to 30 minutes. You can learn more about this by following the Pomodoro technique, which is based on the idea that most people can stay focused for up to 25 minutes at a time. Second principle, Reflect. The 5-hour rule also includes reflecting and thinking. There are many ways to reflect. For some, it might mean a diary, journal, or 10 minutes spent simply contemplating. For others, it could mean talking things over and unpacking what happened. When we reflect on our days and our mistakes, we turn failures into learning experiences. Journaling as a form of reflection will help you track not only successes, but also failures from your past too. Sarah Blakely, who is the founder of Spanx, is a longtime believer in journaling. In an Instagram post, she revealed that every year since the start of Spanx, she had a notebook with her. It was the same kind, the same size that she bought from a drugstore. She also mentioned that she had shelves stacked with notebooks, and in them she wrote ideas, goals, thoughts, sketches, people she's met, and all her appointments. Just to know how crazy she was about the whole journaling thing, she considered herself lost when she didn't have a notebook in hand. By journaling, it has helped her tackle key areas of her life and business, ensuring there are no repeated mistakes. In the words of Samuel Beckett, try again, fail better. As we come to understand, each failure is different, and each defeat is closer to victory than the last. Focusing on the past gives you a chance to learn from mistakes you've made, as well as assess what you did correctly. As a result, you'll be better suited to achieve your goals and improve your life. The University of Texas further proves this in a study they did back in 2014 when they discovered that mental rest and reflection improve learning. When you spare time to reflect on your life, you can align your goals with a clearer vision. If you need help getting started, just slot in reflecting into your schedule. The good part is that you may not need to wager a whole hour. I did all the dirty research and found out that blocking out 15 to 20 minutes after lunch is enough and ideal. This is simply because you'll be coming out of that post-lunch slump. You can start small by allocating just 10 minutes of your time per day as you work your way up so that you're not overwhelmed. Third principle, experiment. The third and final bucket is experimentation. Experiments are so useful because you have facts, not assumptions. They show you what's working. What good is an idea or a thought if you do not execute it in the real world? You have done the reading, you have done the reflecting, and now you have the mantle to get the ball rolling. Jack Ma, the co-founder of Alibaba, also recommends applying the knowledge you've learned to a real-life scenario. For example, after reading a book about collaboration and teamwork, you could take on new volunteer work to put that knowledge to use. A great outcome of experimentation is Gmail and AdSense, because Google allowed employees to experiment with new ideas. Google is credited for popularizing the practice that 20% of an employee's time may be used for side projects. This allowed employees to take 1 day a week to work on side projects or learn new skills. It doesn't end there. Ben Franklin, despite many failed projects, became a leading inventor and thinker because of his experiments. Between running a print shop, engineering the U.S. postal system, starting America's first lending library, and helping sow the seeds of the American Revolution, Ben Franklin also found time to draw up a vast collection of new devices. To this day, the Franklin Institute in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, stands as an inspiration to curious minds and a tribute to clever innovations. You can learn from your mistakes and even obtain feedback from others as part of the process. I get it. You do not have all the time in the world to experiment. However, experimentation shouldn't be that time-consuming simply because most of the time, you're testing through the same activities you'd perform without testing. Sparing an hour or less following the 5-hour rule ensures consistency, and sooner or later, you will find yourself cruising swiftly. The real-life application: treat the rule as more of a goal. If I am being honest, I have tried to incorporate this rule into my life, focusing on some key aspects which included reading, exercising, and career planning. I even started an online course in soap making, something I've been interested in and thought could start a side hustle in some way. Since this was all new for me, I had to structure the whole soap making process in segments to ensure I was not getting information overload. I secluded time in the evening to execute the learning. As far as reflecting goes, I have been able to journal my way through how I spend my days and create a more productive schedule, ensuring I am not losing out on precious time. I intend to execute all I have learned about soap making and start my side hustle soon. Of course, I expect some trial and error, but as long as I stay consistent, the results will soon show. I will be honest and say that I found it most challenging on some days when life got in the way, and I don't think that was a bad thing. My experiment coincided with the holidays, which meant Christmas celebrations, gift shopping, family dinners, friend hangouts, and more. This is just to show you that when you are starting, you may have some inconsistency hiccups and you may feel like a failure. But truthfully, don't get to the point of optimizing yourself so much that you miss out on the whole point of being successful in the first place. Being able to relax and enjoy people's company and spending time with the ones you love. Look at the 5-hour rule more as a guideline to strive for, but do not beat yourself up when you don't hit it. The goal is not to be an instant billionaire, but to stay consistent. In the spirit of starting the new year strong, why don't you give the 5-hour rule a go? I challenge you to follow the rule for a month. While it could be harder in the beginning, the rewards that follow will be worth it. At worst, it will make you a star at the next family union as you hijack conversations to talk about all the cool things you have learned along the way. At best, it will make you focused enough on your path toward millionaire status.